Hello! Welcome back to I Regret Everything, the movie, the video game, the movie, the video game. I regret everything! But I can't change that now. The more I do this frickin' translation work, the more sad I become. Wow, this is a lot shorter than Chapter 2. I can't. I fucking cannot. Oh. I can't. This music tears me apart, and all the missed potential is ruining me. I'm becoming the saddest boy. I can't. Ah! I'm already falling apart. I need to man up. Oh wow, I love how the system does not skip a single fucking beat, and it's just like, let's fucking do this. I picked the wrong file, though. Oh, I picked the wrong file. I thought I picked the right one, but I guess I was in the wrong place. Oh my god, I just had to tell... I just ranted to someone about just how much I hate some of the things that are done over the course of the story. And then I had to tell them, but no, don't, listen, I understand that this sounds and looks extremely bad, and makes the game look like absolute hot garbage. But the reason I'm this negative is because I love it so much, and now I've realized it's not that good. Like the first time through, this is a magnificent game, a fantastic experience, it will destroy you. But all this translation work puts me in such high proximity to the text and the meaning and the lore and the tiny little tidbits that were cut out because of time. It ruins me. It tears me apart to see a much better game hidden under an even already great game. It's like having a fantastic bar of gold, your perfect dream, but underneath the surface is the scaffolding of something 3 times as fantastic. Something that would have destroyed your perception of reality. And you're like, God damn it. Why do I live in this world of all worlds? Why do I live in the one where Lorem shows up? Why couldn't I be in the one with Sebastian? Or Maverick gets... Actually, Maverick does technically get a C. Sort of. He gets 2, sort of. I like how your skip happens after he says, come in! And before you say, okay. God, what a good song. I'm fucking dead. I'm dead. I hate myself. I hate everything about this game and everything it's done to me. This is the most abusive relationship I've ever had with a video game. How does this happen? So fucking upset. I can't do this. It just ruins me every time. Like, a part of me is, if I could have been there, if I could have been an editor, if I could have prevented this disaster. Not that the game is a disaster, as I said, on your first time through, fantastic fun times. But if I could have helped apply that extra layer of polish and edge, make some of the more references a little bit more add a couple of options, give Lorem's fucking dialogue options some dynamicism. God damn, your first option's nothing. Oh, you get +1 point or you don't. God, that just rustles my jimmies. Look at this. You get nothing, except he looks a little different. Wow. Video game. I love that it comes up that Lorem lives in a very awkward apartment, which I think actually, it might actually tie. Because one thing that irks me is Lorem is kind of a character stolen from a book. Like, he's very much based on a character from a book, which is fine, but it feels kind of weird to have a character from a book be put in what is also kind of a book. Oh, man. I want to, you know what I want to do? I don't just want to see the world where Sebastian goes up. I want to see the world where I actually made Ophinia a character. And I want to see two worlds. I want to see the one where I had the respect and decency for this game that I have now. Where I would make something fantastic and it'd be great. I also want to see the world, the one that this world would have probably been, where I ruin it because I don't give a shit and the story is god-awful and the creator's like, and I sit there feeling even worse about myself. Because as much as I'd prefer it compared to what Lorem ultimately turned out, which is kind of, like, it really doesn't have any dynamicism. That having been said, I probably would have picked up Ren'Py and written it my fucking self to get it done, which is the funny part. Like, I'm a programmer, I know how this shit works, I would have done this myself. I would have just said, you know what, how about this? I write out the script, I take care of all the details myself. How about that? How about that? How about I just fucking do it? You don't worry about the dynamics of the story, I'll make my own time. Which would kind of be very awkward, since that's not the position of a backer. But, you know, I wonder, like, again, I do kind of wonder what the communication was. Like, how extensive of an input did he get? Like, did he just mention plot points? Was there a lot of back and forthing? Did it have an voice chat or Skype? Did they actually do, like, a lot of back and forthing? Was an entire script presented from his end, or what? So here's the reason that I don't like Lorem. Lorem introduces two things: laptops and ioxum spheres. Ixomen spheres and laptops somehow exist at the same time, despite it being implied that computers are A, not that advanced, or at least not that popular. How? How does this happen? How do these systems exist? Like, Lorem brings in all these little lore and technical elements that kind of get in the way of things. Admittedly, Ophinia's hover scooter isn't exactly all that lore-wise either, but the excuse is that because the porter uses gravitational panels, she just managed to find one lying nearby. Which you could say, oh, comes from the underground facility or something like that. Like she stole one. Or she stole one from work. That having been said, I currently have a wrong headcanon, but she has it before she even arrives, which makes no sense at all. Yeah, I love the fact that laptops are obsolete to you. But again, Ixomen sphere exists. Like, an Ixomen sphere, if it exists, why are there also laptops in just the traditional sense? Like, what is an Ixomen sphere, and why is it developed when laptops exist, when you can just mix... Like, the PDAs are clearly technology they don't understand or have that much, so where the hell does this tech branch head off to? They have floating computer orbs, but not PDAs, and they have very... They don't have cars, even electric ones. Why don't they invent electric cars? They have generators that just work. Like, come on. I don't think they have batteries. That might be the problem. They don't have batteries, so they can't store energy. And the generators work best on geothermal and all that, so their reliability is somewhat low if you remove them from the geothermal area or something like that. I don't know. Why does he say in our world? Like, that implies that you're talking to someone else. Like, let's just fucking do this. No, that's better. I like how Lorem doesn't give a shit that you're sitting there and going, ah. Like, if you're waxing nostalgically, you probably have an expression. I guess Lorem was busy with his computer, though. So he'd probably be like, I don't notice. I'm blind. I'm not going to do much today. For A, I do not have much time. And B, my mood is already hottest of garbage. that's not fucking good. This is a nice song, though. Snowflake. Yeah, it's also called Snowflake here. So many lines are just characters acknowledging things, which makes sense. But it's kind of awkward how much they show up. Snake Man. I should probably start showing these things because they're kind of interesting to see. Why does it always start me there? I wish it would stop doing that, or at least fucking fold that one because. Chapter 2. That's not where Snake Man is hidden. They're all hidden in extra because Lorem is fucking weird. No, they're not extra. They're in Lorem, which is still goddamn weird. Snake Man. Oh, he's a little Snake Man. Here's the thing I don't get. Why does he have those fingers? They don't know what humans look like, yet they have humans that have fingers with claws at the end, instead of, like most dragons, claws that are finger segments. Not to mention, this is really serpentine compared to the more reptilian features. Oh, those are all stupid. I like how he takes this in stride, even though it's ridiculously ugly. I wonder where these pictures came from. Like, these look like they come from a D&D manual. I'm a snake man. I like to lick things with my tongue. So the funny thing that gets me is, there's a lot of talk about dragons in the environment. What I would have loved, other than the Katsuharu scene, fuck the Katsuharu scene, that scene is terrible. Terrible from a perspective of these are random passerbys. There should have been a scene, like I know these are expensive pictures, there should have been one scene, where there is just a screenshot of a road filled with dragons. They could be simple as fuck, but just to give an impression on how busy the streets are. Are they full? Are there a couple of dudes every couple of miles or something? Is there enough people that you might have to push through a little bit, but it's not that dense? Is it an average street during nighttime? Like, there should have been a shot where you see the variety of dragons and how they all coexist and walk beside each other. An impression of the variety of details and designs, and also just an impression of how busy it is. A huge part of the story and lore doesn't fit well. It makes it very hard to fill in. So many opportunities are missed to describe the actions in the environment of what is going on, and it just sucks. God fucking damn it, if they ever make a sequel, I will strong arm my way into becoming an editor. I will not let that go. Fuck. You might say, you don't have a writing experience. Dude, no, I do. I have way too much writing experience. Not to mention, a lot of the things I mentioned have nothing to do with, like, detail-level writing. They are less, like, sure, I complain about the butts, but apparently that's fine, and there's yet blah, blah, blah. My talk is more about the writing that is presented versus the writing that should and could be presented. Mine is about, you could talk about the environments or character movements or how Lorem fidgets in his chair as he feels uncomfortable about you sitting next to him and towering over him or something like that. You could write about how Ipsum walks, like he has a certain strut, or he walks very plainly, or he looks away and doesn't want to make eye contact, something like that. Like, you could establish character traits. That doesn't happen. The visual novel appears to use the ability to display characters as pictures as a shorthand and an excuse for hand-waving, character motions, and interactions, while at the same time not using those pictures to establish a situation properly. Like I said, with a bunch of dragons in the street, setting up a situation. Like, this is a street filled with dragons. This is a busy day. This is what that looks like. I'm like, oh, okay, now I understand what a busy day looks like. Or maybe you walk with Sebastian. Sebastian's a little bit in front of you. There's some simple-looking characters to the side, and they look at you. Like, a couple of them give you a glance. A couple like, oh, some hold their hands to their face, and others are just walking by. And it established the sense of you are being watched, but at the same time, people don't care. These are scenes you can use pictures for much better than writing. But tiny fidgets and emotions, you can very well... Like, it doesn't properly use the medium. It misses out on so many opportunities. If I become the editor, I'm going to piss him off, though. That's the problem. Like, I have a very distinct way of doing this, which I think is better. Let's be clear. Some people might say what I'm thinking is good. Like, oh, yeah, that's how you should use the visual novel. I'm wiping my wet fingers on my face. Oh, man, chin rubbing. And some people are like, no, you shouldn't do that. Like, just talking is great, because then you can fill in the blanks. You can have ideas like, oh, Lorem's uncomfortable moving. The problem is, fidgets are never established. Like, tiny twerks and quirks are never really established, which means if you imagine them, they're entirely your headcanon, and you might entirely just be wrong. Like, the character might be okay and not actually be fidgeting at all. It's just like, okay, and he moves on. Like, the characters are much looser as a result. They don't have as much character to them because they don't express themselves with bodily language, other than the basic emotions. Like, you might say, but then the pictures not matching up is not fine. You don't expect a book to constantly match up. That's fine. If you go into a visual novel, you expect a certain degree of fidelity from the pictures. You expect certain images that establish a situation. But at the same time, you understand that the pictures lack a certain degree of fidelity and finesse that is often seen in actual video games with more action in them. Like, it's not good enough as a book, and it's also not good enough as a game. So it kind of sits in the awkward middle ground where the visual novel components seem to be an excuse for bad writing more than an enabler of bad writing. Or, God, oh, I feel so bad. Oh, God. If Saunders ever sees this, I want to know what he thinks of what I have to say. He'd probably be pissed off for one. I come to this a lot. This is a lot of looping what I said before. Well, I like how, here's the thing. Why does Lorem ask you this question if he mentioned it last time, except, this is so dumb. Listen, the only thing this enables is A, the player being an asshole and needing a recap, or B, you're doing this at the first chapter and the last, you can't do that unless you've already done Lorem. There's a logical distortion here where this is not something you would usually say. Like, why would he ask? He's explained it. If he cared, he'd just give you the short version straight away, and if he doesn't, he'd just mention an offhand comment and just go, whoop, or just not mention it. Like, he just said, oh, like, this is a rhetorical question, at best, and you answering it makes it kind of awkward. Like, you could have done, oh, but it was a rhetorical question, actually. I figured you knew. And the way you put it is so mean, too. Ugh. But, my stomach is acting up. I ate some delicious pasta and really chewy broccoli. Like, here's the funny thing about... Like, here's the funny thing about this question. Wouldn't that give... Like, if that's true, wouldn't that mean that you would already have baked-in cultural supremacy? Like, the creator human turned into a flyer, so naturally flyers are considered the best, because else the god wouldn't turn into them. That doesn't happen, which means your theory is bogus, simply because the logic that requires... I can't take this. I can't take this. I fucking can't. Adam West died and I watched his Batman movie and it was like, Mike, like, I really love that movie. Like, the Batman 1966 movie's great. Like, it's got good pacing, the action scenes are nicely done, the writing is great, the logic is goofy, but it feels really cool because everyone is so sincere. Everyone is clearly trying to do their best, and it works great. The only sad part is the Joker doesn't get to shine as much. Like, it really is mostly a Penguin and Riddler thing, because the riddles come up a bunch, and the Penguin's theme comes up a bunch. The Joker doesn't get to do as much, and Catwoman's mostly there for the kidnapping scene. But it really works. Like, all the characters are so sincere. Like, there's never... They just had fun. They had fun, and they had budget, and they had fun, and it's great. To the point that I woke everyone up at 7 o'clock in the morning, in which case, it's 7 o'clock in the morning. Wake up. Oh man, that's super rude of me to say. I shouldn't say that. The way Lorem puts it, and again, Lorem interjects a lot of lore that a backer character should not be doing. The way he interjects it implies that there are intermediate states, hybrids, dragon species we don't get to see, and different degrees of human DNA, which is never confirmed or proven in any way or shape or form shown. Wouldn't they already know this? Like, they have genetics, they have understanding of genetics. Wouldn't they be able to reverse engineer some questions and answers? Like, okay, this is clearly human DNA because it shows up in this and this degree with this and this person, and they overlap with this and this in which we have humans. So it's probably human DNA. This, and this is common shared traits between those, and those. Why didn't they never do that? Like, even we just started mapping the human genome and learned a whole bunch of cool shit. And we're like, yeah, cool, we learned some shit about human genomes. Whee! I mean, I guess dragons aren't as curious. Like, they're more traditionalist and conservative, and they don't care about exploring things. But still... There's got to be one guy who's like, listen, this might be important to know. Like, it might give us some information on how to clone things or make, you know, organs we need. I don't know how dragon donor organs are working out, but they could probably use some compatibility enhancements. Like, the way he puts it also implies that the dragon species evolved over time. Like, there weren't flyers at the beginning. And I love the idea that there's a bloodline with human blood, which implies that there is a dragon species that wasn't there before, but after the... again, that wouldn't make sense. That doesn't add up. That doesn't work. So Lorem is A, a character that interjects a lot of lore, but B, also interjects a whole bunch of bullshit. Great. What a fantastic backer character use. What an amazing character! Again, a lot of complaints I have about Lorem are less about the character. Like, character-wise, Lorem is great. There's a lot of potential. There's a lot of good stuff going on. It's just kind of dumb when a character spends the majority of their time talking about lore and background information when they can do something else. Kevin! Like, Katsuharu at least is like, oh, we're gonna have some ice cream sale. It's incredibly flat, it's not interesting, the characters aren't great, but at least you're doing something that's... something! Complaints. Complaints. Translating complaints. Might as well complain in Dutch so nobody knows. This sounds really awkward in Dutch, which is more my limited vocabulary than anything else. The reason this irks me a lot too is, this is probably Goldkin being like, I want to talk about the lore, but it doesn't work right. Like, it doesn't work with the character too well, it doesn't work with the story too well, and for the most part it's a lot of A, bullshit, and B, stuff that's like, I understand that someone like them is like, ooh, I want to know how the word works. At the same time, you know, some details don't have to be a character and could just be a book. Like, I really feel there's an opportunity to just have books. Have the player literally read a book when they say they want to read a book. Like, pick up a book. Pick up a book. It's a book about romance, and the excerpts are like this and this and this, and they all give you clues about how dragons exist with each other, what they consider romantic gestures, how their courtings go. Does the lady come first, or is it the man? Which is great stuff you can use to establish lore. You can have a book about genetics, about hypotheses as to how dragons and genetics relate. Instead of having Lorem on a second date endlessly jibber-jabber about this kind of crap. Like, I know that's his character's hook, but his character hovers towards acceptance of him as a friend, which makes it... yeah. I mean, it makes sense, but... I'm running out of air here. I am literally running out of air. Oh. So the funny thing about this is this kind of makes sense. That doesn't make sense, Lorem! Flyers and earth dragons and also true dragons exist. So you've got quadruped with wings, and somehow bipeds with wings? You got one which has 2 additional appendages, and one with regular, and... oh, come on, Lorem, it doesn't work. Like, if it's just human DNA, then something else is going on. I can't keep this up. I'm going to fucking die. Far ancestor. That's the one I'm looking for. The problem with this is, that's not how genetics work. Wah, 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 wah. It's not how genetics work. Like, look at this. Like, this is what bothers me about you, Lorem. You talk a lot of crap about backstory, and then you have nothing. Your options are blank. Oh. Oh, look, he talks one... I'm going to kill myself. I think I'm gonna stop soon. Like, it's been 30 minutes, and this isn't gonna go, and my mood isn't gonna get any better. Yeah, but if you go by that logic, then the Draconians are the most noble since they resemble humans the most. Except that the runners have better hands and also sort of walk upright. Wah wah. The thing that bothers me most is Lorem is, I think, the only Draconian in the entire fucking story that is a hybrid that has wings, too. Which makes for a very awkward situation. Like, again, that just bothers me. Like, he inserts a lot. Or he is used to insert. That's just as likely, actually. There's one thing that... I'm going to stop soon. But one thing that I want to say is... Oh yeah, I just want to mention this offhand. Fuck. That I pray, done the no needles. Gotta wait for mixed signals, which is impossible to get because it's entirely random whenever you get it. My last achievement is entirely up to luck whenever I get it. I will be doing a playthrough at some point in the future. Doing whatever the hell I feel like. I've done a bunch of endings. I've done super evil. I've done nice and being nice. I've done nice and then backstabbing him. No needles is kind of cool because then January's like, okay, listen. I know I was told to tell you to go fuck yourself, but you're like not infested with Typhon material and you're blowing this place up, so I guess it's fine. Also, apparently if you blow up the place, your brother, Alex, is like, listen, I know that we can get off of here. I know there's an escape pod. I know that my ship... Like, you found a ship, but I don't want to come. I can't do this. And it's, like, so sad. I feel bad for him. And then I stabbed him in real life. For some reason, the ending you get at the end, like the post-credit sequence where you get your assessment, the way you kill Alex feels very stupid. Like, the robots just fall out of the sky and you stab him a bunch with your tentacle arms. Like, come on, really? Not even something cool? Not even a cool ending? No, it's just that. Just, you take his hand. Missed opportunities! Wah, wah. I'm just covered in missed opportunities lately. Yeah, I'm out. I can't do this. My mood is just absolute hot garbage. There's too much hot in this garbage. We're a good way in, though, I guess. I'm just gonna take care of this part. Like, I don't like the bad endings. Even for a character I give a lot of shit like Lorem, I just don't get it. I've been spending so much without the fucking dates. I forgot those exist. Why do you go away anyway? Like, what's the pressure to go home? He offers you dinner. You come into the boy's house, you help him with his video game project, and he invites you to dinner, and you leave him in the tears. What is wrong with you? Here's the thing that gets me. And this is a problem that I just noticed. Why the fuck is Lorem clinging? The character that's established at the end does not engage friendships because he feels that his sexual position makes him awkward and pushes people away. Why is he clinging when it would be much more interesting if it was the other way around? Like, he drops it, but he's clearly trying to do something. Oh. See, this is why I wanted to stop, because this is all I'm going to talk about now. It's a bit longer, but it's like, just forget I ever said it. It needs to be longer. It just doesn't work too well if you just do it directly. Is Ipsum still around at this point? He should be around at this point. Oh yeah, here's the impressed version. Why don't you... Like, the dinner thing is an odd part, too, because it comes up, but it doesn't do anything? Like, he just sort of asks, and then nothing happens? I like how he mentions this twice, and that happens a bunch to a lot of people. But this is kind of weird. He mentions a dinner, and that doesn't do anything. Unlike with Remy, where he mentions dinner, and you have dinner in the next date. Like, what's the point? What is the deal with these video games? Look at all this lovely text. That's what's going to happen in Date 3 and 4. Just a bunch of text with no input. New here. We've stumbled across a ruin of a video game. Imagine that thinking emoji, like the three-dimensional one that has 3 faces and spins around a bunch. Imagine that one. That's really what I'm sitting. What would new here mean? I can only imagine that, as I mentioned, there's a lot of back and forthing on the text and dialogue. And the new here was sort of... Maybe it was him providing his part of the script, being like, this is what I worked out, this is the script, and he puts the script in and then adds all the little tags. Like, that's all the creator did, is he added the tags. Who knows? Mystery abound! I, for one, am interested in it more than I'm interested in the garbage these people have to say. That's mean. But that's why I want to stop. I'm so mean now. Next time, more of Lorem's Date. Although, admittedly, it is much more an interrogation. Or just like, do you like this thing? I drew this thing. He doesn't show you his art too much either, which makes me super sad. Because Goldkin does make nice art. Like, he could have put some of his art in and been like, here, look at this art. It would have been great. It would have established more of Lorem. You know, like, this is what Lorem draws like. Ooh. This fucking picture, which I don't... Yeah, I think that actually does come up. What is that, though? Oh, it's just some random Google Goo text. It's not even real text. That's the thing that bothers me about Lorem. Something about him just feels unusual compared to most characters. He's not as chunky. Still got the barrel chest, though. Here he looks very tiny. Like, here he looks alright. Bit childish, but here he just looks very small. Like, it fits on your shoulder. Which I think Canon Lorem probably would. And there's Epsom. There's also a pretty small boy. Here he looks super weird, though. Here he looks super chunky and muscular. He looks very... Also, I don't think that's the regular hallway. Video games has posed an answer. Or a question, I should say. Where does Sebastian here? Sebastian in the doorway. So this is that. Yeah! What the hell? A, why are there boxes here? And B, where did the door frame go? Like, the way Sebastian's picture is drawn gives the implication there's sort of a hallway before the entry to the apartment. But here the apartment just opens into it. Also, that door is not long enough to fit into that. I don't care. That is not long enough for that perspective. Fun fact, humans have a good gut feeling for that kind of crap. Either the door should be wider or it should at least be longer, but it just doesn't fit. Like, the way it would swing is like, bloop, about halfway, at best. Also, there's a lot of stuff in the background now, whereas here, it's a lot closer. Like, there's consistency, but also none, because here there's a tree in front, and here there isn't. And here, there's implied to be a roster. Here it looks more like a window roster. These video games are driving me up the wall. And why didn't they use this? Adina's the only character who doesn't get an introduction graphic until her date, which is weird. Some part of me, and I know this is kind of naughty to assume, some part of me thinks that the developer blog was kind of a lie. Because all these small additions are very curious and very strange and kind of odd. Unless there was a final pass in which a majority of the text was edited. This doesn't quite add up. Or maybe I'm just looking for a mystery to explain why so many good ideas are wasted. I'm gonna press the star button after I say goodbye before I do more stupid shit.